Renting versus buying a house. The real math. Have you ever heard someone say, renting is throwing your money away? Or maybe you've heard the opposite. Buying a house right now is a terrible financial decision. So which one is actually better? The truth is, neither answer is always correct, but the better choice depends on your money, your plans, and most importantly, how long you're going to stay. Let's make the math simple. Let's start with renting. Imagine you're renting a house for $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. After 5 years, you've paid around $120,000 in rent. And yes, that money doesn't give you ownership of the house. But here's something important. That doesn't mean renting is automatically a bad financial decision. When you rent, you don't usually have to worry about major repairs. If the roof breaks, the landlord usually handles it. If the water heater dies, that's usually the landlord's problem. And you have more flexibility. If you get a new job in another city, you can move when your lease ends. So you're not simply paying for a house. You're also paying for flexibility and fewer responsibilities. Now let's look at buying a house. Let's say you buy a $400,000 house. You might think, okay, if my mortgage is around $2,500 a month, that's only $500 more than rent. But this is where many people make a mistake. Your mortgage isn't the entire cost of owning a home. You also have property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance, repairs, and possibly HOA fees or mortgage insurance. For example, imagine your mortgage is $2,000, $500 a month. After adding taxes, insurance, and maintenance, your real housing costs could be significantly higher. And remember, your roof doesn't care that you just paid your mortgage. Your air conditioner doesn't care either. When something breaks, you pay for it. But there's one big advantage to buying. When you make mortgage payments, part of that money can go toward building equity in the home. Think of equity as the part of the house that you actually own. For example, imagine you buy a house for $400,000. Over time, you pay down the mortgage. If the house also increases in value, your equity can grow even more. So, after many years, you could have a valuable asset. With renting, you don't get that ownership. But there's another side to this. And this is where the math gets interesting. The opportunity cost. Let's say you have $80,000 available for a down payment. If you buy a house, that $80,000 goes into the property. But what if you rent it instead? You could potentially keep that money invested elsewhere. For example, you could invest it in stocks or another asset you want. That potential investment growth is called opportunity cost. It's one of the biggest things people forget when comparing renting and buying. Buying a house isn't just about how much is my mortgage. It's also about what could I have done with this money instead. So which one wins? Here's the simple answer. If you're only staying for a short time, renting can make more sense. Why? Because buying and selling a house can be expensive. You have closing costs when you buy. And when you sell, you may have commissions, fees, moving expenses, and other costs. If you buy a house and sell it after only 1 or 2 years, those costs can eat up a lot of your potential gains. But if you plan to stay for 5, 7, or 10 years, buying can become much more attractive. You have more time to build equity. You have more time for the property to potentially appreciate. And the costs of buying and selling are spread over a longer period. Here's the simple rule. Don't ask, is buying better than renting? Ask, which option makes more sense for my situation? Renting may make sense if you might move soon, your income isn't stable, you don't have enough savings for emergencies. Or buying would stretch your budget too far. Buying may make more sense if you have stable income, you have enough savings, you plan to stay for several years, and the full cost of owning fits comfortably within your budget. The biggest mistake is comparing rent versus mortgage. That's not a fair comparison. Instead, compare rent plus renter's insurance against mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, other ownership costs. Then consider what happens to your money if you choose to rent and invest the difference. That's the real math. A house can be a great investment, but a house is also a place to live. And buying the most expensive house you can possibly afford isn't automatically going to make you wealthy. The goal isn't simply to own a house. The goal is to make a housing decision that helps your overall financial life. So before you buy, ask yourself 3 questions. How long will I stay? What is the true monthly costs? And what could my down payment and extra money earn somewhere else? Once you answer those 3 questions, the rent versus buy decision becomes much clearer. Because in the end, it's not about whether renting or buying is always better. It's about which choice is better for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more practical money tips focused on building wealth and achieving financial freedom.